committed, loyal, humor, listener, trusted voice. To call our next speaker committed to the channel is really a huge understatement. For nearly 20 years of his career, he's been a tireless advocate on behalf of business leaders. He strives to help business owners filter out the noise that can be distracting from making measured and careful decisions, and seeks to help them fine-tune and focus for the future. He's brought that approach to RSPA as well, where he's one of our most active volunteers. It's an honor now to welcome Jim Roddy from Vantiv Integrated Payments to the stage today.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Never have two words been more powerful. When we were young and innocent, we were told these two words would make all our dreams come true. Instead, these two words have made those around you unhappy and often made you feel even worse. So what are these two terrible, horrible, no good, very bad words? I do. No, I'm not talking about your wedding vows, okay? I'm not talking there. I don't want to go there. I'm talking about you and me as business leaders always saying, I do. I do the sales. I do the installations. I do the troubleshooting. I do the accounting, the research, the purchasing. I clean up the mess. I do everything that the rest of my staff can't do themselves. A year ago on the Retail Now stage, we heard Michael Gerber, the world-renowned small business guru, talk about the plight of the small business leader who always said, I do. Now, Michael's terminology was busy, 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 doing it, doing it, doing it. He was so right, wasn't he? We as business leaders do everything except effectively delegate to our team. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, effective delegation and the impact that it's had on my life. I've learned firsthand that delegation doesn't just get jobs off your plate, but more importantly, it does three things. First, it builds the people on your team. Second, it makes their career and their life more rewarding with more responsibility. And third, it significantly improves your company. Now, it's a complicated subject. I could talk about it here all day, but I'm going to try to make it simple for us. We're going to expand our collective skill set from these two words, I do, to 6 easy to remember words. Okay, you ready for it? I do, we do, you do. 3 steps to delegation in just 6 words. I do, we do, you do. Everybody say it with me, please. I do, we do, you do. Very good. All right, delegating right up live on stage. So delegation step number 1, do the job well yourself. Step number 2, we do the job well with the person who you're looking to train, who you're looking to delegate to, who you're teaching. And then delegation step number 3, watch that person until they do the job well, until they're proficient at the new task. You know what you get if you don't do this? Do you know what you get if you don't do I do, we do, you do? You end up in doo-doo, all right? And you don't want to be there. Remember, I do, we do, you do, not doo-doo. So we've been laughing about this, but actually the subject of delegation is a pretty serious subject for me. I've lived both the highs and the lows of delegation while I've been constructing a viable business over many years. It's a struggle that's cost me time, cost me money, employees, and at times my mental well-being. Many of you don't know, but for most of my 20s, I was a self-employed sole proprietor. I published a sports magazine about high school, college, and minor league sports in Northwest Pennsylvania. We had lots of enthusiastic readers and faithful advertisers, but for 5.5 years, it was mostly me doing the writing, the editing, the layout, the sales, the billing, the delivery, the collections, the recycling, the garbage, you name it. To give you a picture of the resources I had at my disposal, my delivery vehicle was a 1992 maroon Geo Prism. So that tells you what I was working with back then. The stress of a 70-hour work week and the inability to afford anything other than SpaghettiOs for dinner caused me to be interested in a job at Business Solutions magazine. Now, when I tried to sell my sports magazine, potential buyers asked me what I had actually built. Who was I leaving behind? And what structure was left to build upon? The reality was nothing. Absolutely nothing. I had poured over half a decade of my life into something, and it was gone. So I did what any reasonable business person would do. I cried. I can count on one tissue the number of times I've cried during my work career, but I certainly earned this one. So the leadership philosophy I've embraced since shuttering my business is do nothing by yourself. Now, just to clarify, I don't mean do nothing by yourself, okay? What I mean to say is when you do something, always use it as a teaching opportunity, a delegation opportunity, instead of just completing the task at hand all alone. When I was managing editor at Business Solutions, I invested time with our production manager, and very quickly she replaced me in that position. When I was editorial director, I invested time with our copy editor, and she replaced me in that role in the near term. When I was operations director, I invested time with the project manager, which allowed him to grow so I could move into my role as company president. Now notice how I used the phrase repeatedly, invested time. Delegation will not give you lift the next day, the next week, or maybe not even the next month. But just like any good investment, it will pay you exponential dividends at some point in the future. So we've been talking about the lessons, but I want you to get started on the delegation path. So take 30 seconds right now and make a note. I don't care if you do it on your phone or a scrap sheet of paper. Make a note that will help you build a viable business. Write down one of your jobs that you can hand off, a job you know you should hand off, and make a commitment right now that you will hand it off when you return home from retail now. It doesn't matter what the job is. I just want you to write it down. It can be selling a new client. It can be handling customer complaints, hiring a new employee, bolting down a key process or procedure. It could be sorting the mail. Then pick the person you're going to work with on this job. Remember, it's going to be we do. We do. It's not I do. Again, write it down and take the first step towards effective delegation when you're back in the office. Invest time in your greatest resource, which isn't you, it's your people. Invest time showing them, teaching them, training them, explaining the why. Invest time building systems so they can do the job without you there. In many cases, and believe me, I know this from experience, they'll end up doing the job better than you. Don't stop at the words I do. Go all the way with I do, we do, you do. Say it loud with me one more time. I do, we do, you do. Yes, I do, we do, you do will make your business much more effective and make you a better leader. I do, we do, you do, and I thank you.